chocolate avocado mousse is rich, fulfilling, and wholesome. So I'm going to start right off talking about these dates. I have 10 medjool dates. Dates are the easiest way to pull refined sugar out of your baking. I'm letting my dates soak in hot water. That way they plump up. So I'll set those aside. And now I want to get my chocolate ready. And I'm not using bar chocolate, but I'm actually creating my own by mixing coconut oil and cocoa powder. You can always measure your coconut oil in a measuring cup, but it's a bit messy. So I prefer to weigh it. If you're measuring, it's a 1/4 cup of coconut oil. And if you're weighing it, it's 50 grams. And now I add my cocoa powder, 3/4 of a cup. I do like using Dutch process because it has a wonderful intensity of flavor and it has a lower acidity than a conventional cocoa powder. Now I'm going to melt the cocoa powder and coconut oil just over medium heat, whisking until it's nice and smooth. It tends to smooth out in about the same time as the coconut oil melts. It doesn't have to cool to room temperature, but I am going to set it aside because the first thing I want to puree in the food processor are my now softened dates. Grab a slotted spoon. And then I measure out 2 tablespoons of this liquid and put it into the food processor. I do like to puree the dates first. That way I know they'll be nice and smooth within the mousse. And with each addition of an ingredient, they'll puree even finer. All right, now I'll move on to the avocados. You want to use ripe avocados, that way they'll puree nice and smooth. And it's amazing what the avocado flavor lends to this recipe. You're trying to make a wholesome dessert that's fulfilling, and it's got to feel rich on the palate. Well, avocado is so creamy and rich, but it's also got a natural sweetness. So all I'm doing is scooping my avocado out into the food processor. And now I'll blend this into the dates. There we go. Now it's time to add my chocolate combination, the cocoa and coconut oil. And now for the next ingredient, the coconut. What I have here is coconut cream and some coconut milk. And this came from the same tin. The key to separate the two is to chill your coconut milk in the tin overnight. Then, without shaking the tin, you spoon off the coconut cream, and what's left is coconut milk. And traditional to any chocolate mousse, you want to add a little flavoring. So a teaspoon of vanilla. And to balance out the sweetness, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And now I'll puree this all together. There we go, perfect. And now I'll scrape this into my mixing bowl here. Now to whip my coconut cream. It's solid now, so the first thing I do is soften it up a little bit. Now that my coconut cream is a little bit softened, it's easier to whip up. All right, I'm going to add almost all of this. I want to leave a little of the coconut cream to top my individual mousse cups. So about a cup gets folded in. You can use any little individual dish you like. I've got a piping bag fitted with a star tip. And while this recipe makes 6 to 8 generous portions, I'm just going to pipe 3 for now. This is a great make-ahead dessert. So you can make these, pop them in the fridge, give them an hour at least to set up, but you can even make these a day ahead. And now, a little dollop of that remaining coconut cream right on top. Top with a little fresh fruit. Oh, and there it is. I find a dessert like this just so inviting. It tastes so sinfully rich, you can put a grin on your face because you know it's wholesome.